Just cut carbs. It sounds powerful, disciplined, almost heroic. No calorie counting, no complicated tracking. Just remove one food group and watch the weight fall off. And at first, it works. The scale drops quickly, motivation spikes, and you feel in control. But here's what most people don't realize. When you cut carbohydrates aggressively, the initial success often hides biological trade-offs that slowly backfire. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred energy source. Your brain alone uses about 120 grams of glucose per day, and high-intensity training relies heavily on muscle glycogen, which is stored carbohydrate. When carb intake drops very low, glycogen stores decline. And since every gram of glycogen holds roughly 3 to 4 grams of water, you lose water weight quickly. That's why low-carb diets can show a 1 to 3 kilogram drop in the first week. It feels like rapid fat loss, but most of it is water. Once that stabilizes, progress slows, and frustration begins. Energy is the next issue. Studies show that low glycogen levels reduce exercise performance, especially in high-intensity or resistance training. Less fuel means harder workouts, slower recovery, and often lower daily movement. Even mild carbohydrate restriction can increase fatigue and reduce concentration in some individuals. And here's the problem. Consistency requires energy. Discipline is hard. Discipline, while mentally foggy and physically tired, is much harder. Then come the cravings. When you restrict a macronutrient strongly, the brain doesn't just ignore it. Research in behavioral psychology shows that rigid food rules increase preoccupation with the restricted food. Carbohydrates are efficient energy sources, and evolution wired us to value them. When you label them off-limits, your brain often increases desire, not decreases it. That's why bread smells better, rice feels forbidden, and desserts suddenly dominate your thoughts. It's not weakness. It's a predictable biological and psychological response. Over time, restriction can trigger overeating episodes, followed by guilt, followed by restarting the diet. That cycle damages confidence more than any carb ever could. There's also the metabolic adaptation factor. When calorie intake drops, which often happens unintentionally on strict low-carb plans, the body can reduce energy expenditure slightly over time. Hunger hormones like ghrelin may rise, and satiety signals may shift. The body is not trying to sabotage you. It's trying to maintain stability. Extreme restriction signals scarcity. And let's be honest about real life. Carbohydrates are deeply embedded in culture. Rice, bread, fruit, traditional meals, celebrations. A diet that constantly clashes with social life increases stress. And sustainability is everything. Data from long-term dietary studies consistently show that adherence, not the specific macro ratio, predicts success. The diet you can maintain for years beats the diet you can tolerate for weeks. This doesn't mean carbs are untouchable or that lower carb approaches never work. In certain medical contexts, like epilepsy management or specific metabolic conditions, structured low-carb diets can be useful. But for the average person trying to lose fat and improve health, balance tends to outperform extremes. Instead of eliminating carbs, focus on quality and context. Choose fiber-rich sources like fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains. Pair carbohydrates with protein and healthy fats to slow digestion and stabilize blood sugar. Manage portions instead of banning foods. This approach supports steady energy, better workouts, improved mood, and fewer rebound cravings. Flexible dieting consistently shows higher long-term adherence compared to rigid restriction. So why does it suck to cut carbs? Because what feels powerful in the short term can become exhausting in the long term. Rapid water loss isn't the same as sustainable fat loss. Extreme rules create extreme reactions. And biology always pushes back against deprivation. Real progress isn't built on eliminating entire food groups. It's built on strategies you can repeat without burning out. The best diet isn't the most extreme one. It's the one that gives you energy, fits your life, and still works 5 years from now, not just 5 days.